And welcome everyone to another episode of
Enjoy the Show.
Hosted by yours truly, Arturo.
And I'm Billy.
And welcome. I said that twice.
Yeah, well, we're going to welcome 3 times.
There we go. How is everyone doing?
Doing good, dude. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. So
I like the sweater, by the way.
I appreciate it, man. Etsy. Yeah.
Really?
Got this back when WandaVision was on
Are
there.
they're allowed to do that? Because that's like a licensing thing.
I mean,
Haven't gotten in trouble yet.
yeah, and there's a crap ton of stuff on Etsy that is like different images of this and that, and like there's actually I feel like I've noticed like a lot of like ever since I went on this hunt for this sweater, ever since then I've been on Etsy a little bit more, and if you ever see shirts that have like a smattering like collage of a character and like the name right here, that's such a common Etsy thing.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean I think they can get away with it because it's like independent small business type thing.
Okay.
Maybe there aren't any loopholes, and they are. Maybe you should be.
Who knows?
I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things that's so under the radar. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like it though.
Thanks, man.
I love it. I love it
Yeah.
very much.
I like how it's like it's subtle. Like you pick up on it.
Like if you know,
what's
you
up.
know.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. Yeah.
But today is not something Marvel related.
I know. What the fuck?
I mean, so much Marvel stuff comes out, and naturally we want to cover it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the last 2-3 episodes were
She-Hulk, Werewolf by Night, and
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
But what was the
yeah.
one before that? There was something.
What was it?
It was the last non-video episode, but now I'm having a hard time remembering what it was.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time remembering too.
Audience members, what was it?
I think it was the review bombing episode.
Was it? No, it wasn't that. It was something else.
Maybe Miss Marvel or something like that. I don't really remember. Because we've been
Anywho,
regardless.
Today we're doing House of the Dragon.
Yes, the last half of House of Dragon, episodes 5 through the finale.
If you've been following us, you know that we've done 2 episodes already. The first episode was kind of like
Its
our
own thing.
incoming thoughts, our first impressions.
Yeah.
Then we did an episode covering the first half, and which tied in really well with the younger actresses
Yep.
coming in, and now that after the biggest time jump in the series, the back half and the finale, which
Yep.
we are now discussing. And
Yeah.
holy shit, dude!
Yeah, man. This is why I like Game of Thrones, man. This is why I still like. I know that the last season of Game of Thrones left a sour taste in people's mouths, but this entire season is basically just the reason why we tune into Game of Thrones, or why we tuned into Game of Thrones every Sunday for 9 years.
Yeah.
Or 8 years, whatever. And now we're just reminded of like the plotting, the scheming, the chess games, the manipulation, the backstabbing, the face cutting. We're reminded of just how fucking nasty the people of King's Landing and the royal Westeros
yeah.
and the Targaryens and the Hightowers and everybody how just everyone's just looking out for themselves. Like, yeah, you got your allies and yeah, you got your stuff like that, but like at the end of the day, dude, people just, you either play the Game of Thrones or you die.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it.
Well,
that's it.
I mean, interestingly enough, I remember when I was trying to convince people to watch Game of Thrones, one of the biggest things that I felt like really landed with people was the idea that, at least in the original series, you had a common goal. Mm-hmm. And you had all these characters all over this chess piece set, trying to obtain said goal of the throne. So in a way, you kind of decided who you rooted for. You decided who your protagonist and antagonist were to a certain extent. And what this new series has done is a lot of like, damn, like who's on what side, and who are you rooting for? And the good guys are kind of sketchy, and the bad guys also have redeeming qualities. And it's been really intriguing getting all that murkiness, which is really what, this whole universe has always done really, really well.
Yeah, totally.
Is, these characters that are far from perfect, and now everything's war, and we're at the Dance of the Dragons final.
Yeah, we're and so let's talk
Going
about
back a bit, yeah.
Well, let's go back a bit. We'll go back to episode 5. So episode 5 has a 10-year time jump, which that's why, if you've watched the series, you saw that there were younger actors and older actors of certain characters, mainly Rhaenyra Targaryen and Alicent Hightower being the main focuses. This was to your point with the first half. I was really invested in the younger actresses. I really liked their performances, and I really liked kind of what they were offering in their respective timeline. Not to say that Emma Darcy and Olivia Cooke didn't fucking bring it, which they did, for sure. Olivia Cooke, like she was in Bates Motel, which I've seen before, so I already knew she was a great actress.
Ready
but
Player One.
This was just like she really got to play with her villainous side, because in Bates Motel she was.
Spoiler alert! I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Oh, she's a
Don't
good
tell
guy.
me. Well, she's a good. Okay, let's continue. I wasn't even aware she was in it.
Oh,
That's a series that's been on my docket to watch for the longest fucking time. It is one of the very few shows that Tim.
Yeah,
Shouting you out.
that's
buddy.
right. I remember.
If you see this and actually listen, let us know.
Pretty sure he does.
I shout you out a lot.
I feel like he
and
does.
I've never heard you text me.
I feel like he does.
But I mean, yeah, I've been meaning to get around to that forever. So now the
Yeah.
fact that she's in it also adds like, oh, okay, I really need to get around to watching it.
And so, just with that time jump, we're introduced to the older Rhaenyra Targaryen and Alicent Hightower. And I thought going in, all right, maybe they've mended their friendship. Mm-hmm. No, not even close. In fact, it's gotten worse.
Well, I like that, and
totally.
it makes sense. Like, it also gives a chance for the audience to just realize that it's just deteriorated.
Oh yeah,
and without having you like, oh, how much did I miss? Like, oh no, like it's just gotten worse.
Yeah.
And I was first I was initially a little apprehensive that maybe I was gonna be too attached to the younger actresses because they really fucking nailed that, as you
Absolutely,
mentioned.
man.
But Emma and Olivia have been absolutely killing it, and I'm in awe of how they've handled their characters, and for as an audience member to grow attached to both incarnations of them.
Yeah.
And just being fully in tuned.
I also want to shout out the casting director of this show, because Millie and Emma look like they would be the same person, and who I don't remember the young Alicent. Emily, what was her last?
Carey, if I remember correctly.
Emily Carey and Olivia Cooke. You would think that they would be, related as well. So it's like, or would be the same person 10 years younger and older in their respective timelines. So props to whoever is the casting director on the show for that.
I mean, that, and also the kids, how they've all
Oh, yeah,
'cause
yeah,
there's been
absolutely.
additional time jumps after that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, as you were saying with episode 5, like just having that time jump and getting into this and seeing where these characters are 5 years later.
Absolutely.
And just getting immersed into all that. I didn't write notes this time.
Yeah.
I almost always do. And
So we're going to be a little jumbly.
very jumpy.
Who cares, though?
So I know there's like 1,000 things I want to talk about, but the first thing that comes to mind is Viserys.
Oh, my God. Yeah. And shout out to Patty Considine. Like, that dude better fucking get an Emmy whenever they do their nominations and all that type of stuff. He better, dude, because he absolutely destroyed being King Viserys.
So great, man.
He was great, man.
So many different like levels to his character and layers, and him just wanting to do the right thing by this and that, and
Right.
like just his deteriorating health. I mean, that's where things picked up, right? It was 10 years. 10 years later, and we see he's withering away. I was surprised he was still alive.
Me too.
Honestly, I thought he was dead, and to see him come back and just see him wither away sadly, and but still have so much love for his family up until his ending point. And I remember everything about the episode where he forced himself to come out, because basically we find out that this disease has been rotting the shit out of him, and we see him with all the welts and the holes. Like,
He has like half of his face missing, and I think he even is missing an eye.
yeah, he is, yeah. But just the very end of him stepping up to the throne once more to defend his daughter with all the everything that's going on and her kids, and the drift mark, and what happens next, and those things, and just to get his whole family together once more, just to have that be the night he passes. And fuck, man, that was incredibly heart wrenching.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the him with, I believe it was him like putting his arm out, reaching out to probably the seven gods, letting out that final breath, and as that happens, it fades to black and the credits roll. It's like, shoot, man, like what a way. Like honestly, like of course it's sad whenever there's a character in Game of Thrones that you do like that dies,
Which happens often.
Which does happen extremely often. But with King Viserys, this was I don't want to say an honorable death, but it was at least a death that was one that wasn't like absolutely soul crushing, like say like the Red Wedding or something like that, or like Jon Snow, or like I'm trying to think who else, like Ygritte or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's still, regardless of the fact,
it wasn't a violent death.
It wasn't a violent death. It was a peaceful one. He went out just because of his health, and
that tear, man. Like,
yeah.
I mean, and then within that, like fuck, man, the whole like him thinking he's talking to Rhaenyra,
dude,
and the prophecy, and Alicent totally
misconstruing
like,
the whole.
All she caught was Aegon.
Yep.
And she's like, our son, and he says, like, I forgot what he says right after that, but it's like, no, clearly he's not talking about your kid.
Yeah.
Like, he's talking about Aegon's dream.
Yeah.
Like,
and by that he means Aegon the Conqueror, the Song of Ice and Fire, the prince that was promised, that prophecy, which we all know kind of how that goes, because if you've seen Game of Thrones, you know how it goes. But the point is, one thing that I didn't really think about was, why wouldn't Viserys tell Alicent about this dream? But what was explained to me was the only reason why Viserys told Rhaenyra was because Rhaenyra was to succeed him on the Iron Throne. Yeah. So this is only passed on to future kings or queens or what have you.
I like that.
So it makes sense if that's why he never told Alicent, why he never told Daemon.
Yep.
Because,
I mean, Rhaenyra gets surprised by that too later on in the series when she finds out, he never told you.
Yeah. It was in the finale when, she was explaining it, and Daemon fucking grabs her by the neck, and I'm like, motherfucker, you better let her go. Yeah. And I was just like, okay, like he obviously doesn't know. And so what ends up happening is fucking Rhaenyra's claim to the throne is stolen by.
Yeah, I mean, well, even I feel like that's been like the biggest thing this entire season. But
totally.
But even more so during this back half, where because I mean, everything opens up with seeing her children, and they look nothing like Laenor, and we find out that they're actually Strong's kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, the guy who picked her up, like, and had her on his back, rescuing her during the wedding and shit. And then just how everything comes into question, and where the true line of succession falls, and this, like, that's been such an ongoing thing.
Yes.
And then when it gets to this point where, no, it's Aegon's gonna be king, and then all these motherfucking schemers were like, all right, let's go ahead and roll out all the plans we had, and Alison's like, the fuck?
Wait, you've been planning this shit the whole time?
Behind my fucking back? Like, are you fucking serious? Like, not only does it undermine her as a queen, and of course it's something her fucking serpent of a dad would do, but I was like, fuck. And like, and then it's like you see all the reasons why Aegon shouldn't be king, and even his own Kingsguard or his personal guard or whatever is one of the twins is saying, like, you have no idea, like, the level of, like, his debauchery and this and that, and we even see like one of his bastards at the fucking kids fighting arena.
That, by the way,
what the fuck?
What the hell was that, dude? Like, that's so fucked.
Oh man. And like when Daemon's mistress, I forgot her name, but she mentions like,
oh yeah,
that the king, like, everyone that's in power just looks the other way, and I'm just like, oh fuck. I thought she would have a bigger role because has one of the main character posters
Huh. Oh,
of the
yeah.
series. Yeah.
I
Unless
don't
we're
know
gonna see
why,
more
man.
of her in the future, but I mean, she was present. I just expected a little bit more. From her character
totally,
as well.
Totally.
I mean, and then Damon gets married to Daenerys, to
Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra,
Yeah.
which is a huge thing that happens in this back half. The very first episode back, I feel was it the very end of episode 5 or episode 6? No,
I
you're
think
right.
so because I think episode 5 is when. No, I think
it is
it
episode
was.
6.
I think it
Was
was.
6?
Because I think episode 5, what happened? I think that was. Yeah,
Oh,
it was
yeah, 'cause
episode 6.
Strong dies.
Yeah.
At the very end of episode 5, in the fire.
Yes, but I also believe that was also in the same episode. That was when, my God,
This is why we should have taken notes.
yeah. What was Damon's wife's name from the Valerian family?
Oh yeah, he kills her too.
No, the dragon sets her
Oh.
on fire.
Oh, sorry. Oh my God, that happened. Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. And she, oh my, dude, when she
did it to
asked
herself.
dude, when she kept like pleading Dracarys, and
Like,
the dragon
yeah,
didn't
man.
want to, Vagar didn't want to.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that was so heart wrenching.
That was brutal,
Fuck,
man.
man.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
show and. Yeah, we didn't get enough of her. Like she had that single episode. I think you're right. I think that is the.
I think it was the same
5.
episode because
Yeah,
I do
it
remember.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But fucking Laris Strong. Let's talk about that fuck for a
Oh,
second.
dude, no. Can we not? I hate
I mean,
him.
like he my equivalent like of him is like he's the new Littlefinger.
Yeah.
He's the fucking worst. One
But
of the
there
worst.
was a thing about Littlefinger though you were like really wanted to see what
wanted-
he was up to, and this guy is just like fuck you.
Yeah, there were points when Littlefinger you thought like, okay, maybe he is a good guy, and then you're like, no, you were proven wrong every single time. There's not one fucking redeeming quality about this fucking Laris Strong guy. Also has a foot fetish, but we're not gonna go there. What?
You brought it up.
I know, I'm just saying, but we're not gonna go there. I just wanted to say that, and that's it. I'm sorry.
I mean, the kids. That's another thing that's huge. I was talking when we were talking about Vagar, how like one of the Aemond goes to fucking imprint on the dragon basically, and then that whole scuffle with the kids, and just how that's been the whole cutting off the eye,
Oof.
and how
Which-
that's led up, which set in would set the chain of events that basically led to the finale.
Essentially, yeah.
Like,
Especially the last like 5 minutes of the finale. That was insane. And we'll get into it for a second, but let's talk about though that scuffle between the kids and Aemond losing a fucking eye. First off, let me just say,
and everything that happened after that, and then like
that whole sequence of Viserys mediating this giant fucking like I don't even know what to call it, but like, Rhaenyra and Alicent really going at it. That was when their friendship was completely obliterated. Because Alicent went for Rhaenyra to be like,
fucking
now I
kill.
want your fucking eye. And it's like, oh my God. And the fact that Viserys was able to essentially stop a raging queen from taking out the princess, but it's like, man, that was your best friend, and that's the king's daughter. What do you think is gonna like? What would happen had she would have cut out Rhaenyra's eye? Would Viserys be like, nah, it's fine, you're good?
I mean, that's
no, like what would have happened?
That's the thing that's really intriguing about their whole situation is that she is the queen. Like you would, she would, and I would feel everyone would expect that her husband, the king, would back the queen. But it clearly and that was the thing. I remember like watching this with my wife Maya, and like oh shit, he basically just chose Rhaenyra because he was siding with those situations and ignoring this and. Aemond, tell me, what happened. And no one, by the way, brought up the whole fact that he was there to take someone's dragon. Like that fact wasn't brought up, but everything that had to do with that family dispute was fucking insane. And I mean, it proved that he had Rhaenyra's back.
Yeah,
over
which I
Alicent.
mean, like that's his daughter. You better have her back. But I mean, just that's the like I don't. There are a lot of oh shit moments in Game of Thrones and in House of the Dragon. There was a lot of oh shit moments. The slicing of that kid getting his eye cut out was the last thing I expected, and the fact that like they showed like the mending of that, I was just like, this is so disgusting.
It's awesome.
It was awesome, of course, but I was like, I don't like that. But and I just love that, like, even, oh my gosh, and another oh shit moment was when the sea serpent's brother called into question the validity.
Corliss brothers, yeah.
Corliss' brother called the
dude, yeah, and yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
When he literally was like, "Yeah, you're to Rhaenyra, like your kids are bastards." It's like, dude, you had a great run. Like, say goodbye. Like, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. You called the princess's kids bastards, which it is the truth. Yes, we know it's the truth. But like, even if it is, you don't say that because you're gonna die. And what ends up happening? Daemon takes half of his face off.
Oh my God.
I mean, that was so ridiculous.
And
but
then he can keep his tongue, and his tongue was still attached to his body.
I mean, let's just say this. Matt Smith, if you watch this, dude, you better get an Emmy as well. You better get every accolade that there is for the show.
I mean,
he absolutely destroyed it.
Every actor's would fucking bring it, but I mean, Matt Smith, come on, he's always been great. And it when I saw his name be the first name listed in the most recent episode, like, oh,
it kind of hurts to see that.
But I'm also really proud of him.
Of course. That's like, top billing is a very big honor.
And I love the scene where like he picks up Viserys.
Yeah.
Like when he's crawling up to the throne. And
you want to know something about that scene? So his crown falls off, right? That was an accident. That wasn't supposed to happen. When he picks it off the ground and puts it back on Viserys, that was improvised.
So Matt Smith ran up during that?
What do you mean?
Viserys. So
which episode number are we talking about here? I think it was episode 8, right?
We're talking about, we're referring to the scene where Viserys is walking up to the throne and can barely make it.
Yes.
And then
the last
Daemon
time he sat
him.
on the throne. Yeah. So there's a point where Viserys is trying to get up the stairs.
So if his crown fell off, you're saying it wasn't scripted for Matt Smith to run up and put it on?
Well,
on
the
him?
crown falling off obviously wasn't scripted.
So it's just the slipping was.
Yeah. So like that whole thing was off the fly. Like him picking up the crown, putting it back on his head was all.
Okay, sick. I mean, I love that already, but so the only thing that was scripted was him like helping him up, basically, not picking up the crown.
That part I don't know. All I know is that apparently that him, like the crown falling off and Daemon picking the crown up and putting it back on his head was completely improvised. Like that was not in the script. Not scripted.
Where'd you hear that?
Fucking forgot. I don't exactly remember where. I saw it on a post somewhere on the internet somewhere.
The only thing that throws me is that because you have to do blocking. So if it wasn't scripted at all for him to even have a struggle, Matt would have not been able to be in frame.
So the point. So to your point, then, if the falling was
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
the tripping was scripted.
Yeah, the tripping was scripted.
It was just the
crown falling off his head.
Then he carried it, and that's awesome. Yeah. I love it when you have those moments where it's something that happens accidentally, but it's so organic to the moment.
Yeah,
and then the characters just keep it going.
I think, and like the post I saw it on Facebook, and it was one of those like Hollywood Reporter articles saying like, oh, in this scene in House of Dragon, like this was unscripted or whatever the fuck, one of those things.
Yeah,
yeah. It's always fun to like catch those things or like find out things like after.
What reminded me of that immediately was No Way Home. So I ran No Way Home. The scene where the Peters are together and they're yelling out the plans and this and that, and Andrew Garfield, Peter 3, just yells out, "I love you guys." That wasn't scripted. Yeah.
That's so
and then
good.
They just kept it going.
Yeah. Or, dude, and the best one, and one of the best ones is when in Captain America: Civil War, when Tom Holland thinks Robert Downey Jr. is giving him a hug, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm just opening up the door."
Oh, the door.
Yeah, that was unscripted as well.
Another one that I really, really like, and this is my last one, Lord of the Rings. I think it's the Two Towers. Yes. When they lose Merry and Pippin. After the fight with all the orcs in oh bless her, you're gonna hate me because I forgot the exact place, but in that plains area, and they lose
with the Ents.
No. That's when they're fighting the orcs and they're on top of the
Helm's
wargs and
Deep.
stuff. No. It's like this whole plains field, and it's people on horses, and you have all the orcs and their wargs, like the hyena-looking creatures. But point is, they lose Merry and Pippin, and they're looking for them, and they can't find them. And it seems like at first that they all just burned to death. And then there's like this pile of bodies, like, we haven't seen anything. And Viggo Mortensen, Aragorn, goes to kick a helmet, and he screams in fucking pain.
Yeah. That was in Fellowship of the Ring, wasn't it?
No, I want to say that was Twin Towers.
Okay, you're probably
Uble,
right.
You can tell me right. But he breaks his toe.
Oh, yeah,
And
totally.
that scream is actual him.
That's it, like, ah!
Yeah, and just keeping it going.
That's right.
Last one, Django Unchained.
Oh, with Leonardo DiCaprio and the broken glass?
Pounding, broken glass, real bleeding.
Yeah,
keep it
dude,
going.
that was
Yep,
insane.
yep.
So sick.
Revenant, the getting attacked by the bear. That was
yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, but okay. But I mean, it's just really cool when you see those things, when you hear
when
about
moments
those
like
things
that
happen.
happen,
And then
yeah.
it just captures the moment. It's so visceral.
It was also like, it just seems such a genuine moment because like I feel like, I have no idea what it's like to work on a television series of that magnitude or at all, period. I've never been on television in my life, but I can only imagine when you know that you're not going to be, that the character that you are playing is not going to be in the show any longer, and you have such a relationship with the actor as your counterpart for such a long time, and it's like, oh, this is the last scene I'm going to shoot with them. Like, this is actually like a fucking sad moment. You probably there was some real emotion.
Oh,
in there,
dude, 100%.
sure.
And Matt Smith has such a way of conveying so much with just his facial expressions,
Oh,
without even
my
being vocal.
God, and like there are many moments within this season where he doesn't say a fucking word and literally steals the show.
His whole sidling thing. Fucking breaking shit over here. Well, no, just the way
Yeah.
he leans so
Yeah.
often on things, and just like,
Yeah, he's just a fucking whippersnapper, dude. And you know who else has I don't like the character of Otto Hightower, but I will give it to Rhys Ifans.
oh, he's an excellent
that
actor.
man can fucking act, man. He's
doing a fucking great job.
such a piece of shit. His character is such a piece of shit. But I said I hated him, and I do hate him, but at the same time, I'm so encapsulated by him. I'm so just like, I want more of you.
He's great to watch. He really is.
Yeah. And I'm so glad he didn't die in this season. I'm so glad he didn't die.
No, I'm really curious to see what comes next with this character. I mean, with so many of these characters, for sure. We're talking about the crown. I did want to touch on how epic it was to see Rhaenyra wear the crown.
Ooh, yeah.
Especially that moment of her coronation, because we had gotten the news about Viserys, and all the stress and everything that came by, and her losing her child.
That was a very uncomfortable scene to watch, by the way.
I mean, that shit's rough, man.
Wasn't that like the third scene of this, like of something like that, where like
In this series,
yeah, because Emma was the first episode. Damon's wife had a pretty gnarly birthing scene, and then
it's been tough. I mean, there's a reason the show's TVMA, and they do have the thing in the top left corner when it starts, but it doesn't make it any easier to watch.
No, of course not.
But I can only imagine as a parent the fucking pain that one goes through, and knowing that it came so early, and it was the umbilical cord, and
Oof, yeah,
my heart goes out. But
brutal stuff.
like having that be this moment for Rhaenyra, and just to feel so weak, and everything taken away from her, and this and that, and then her father passing, and then who shows up? Aaron, right? Yeah, with the crown, acknowledging Eric. Thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And confessing his servitude towards her, and forever to guard her as her as a guard.
Absolutely, man.
And leaving because he was Aegon's, and then professing his servitude to the one true queen, and he has her dad's crown.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this moment with all those people, and just everyone
bending the knee. I would bend the knee as fuck for Rhaenyra Targaryen, for sure. Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt, I would.
Oh, yeah.
She is the embodiment of what it is to be like a queen. In my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we even get that because we see her whole council, and everyone's so ready for war, and she's the only one like, hold up, let's make rational decisions here,
Right.
you
Right,
know,
right.
and it's something that Rhaenys, notices.
Yeah.
And as she's talking to Corlys,
Yeah.
because he turns out he's alive.
Yeah, that was like that was something that if there was there aren't a lot of things I can nitpick about this, but I really like the the sea snake. I like Corlys Valerian. I really like him.
Yeah.
I wanted to see more of him,
Oh, that's your nitpick.
and
Gotcha.
and the fact that it was kind of just like said that he like was wounded in battle and was like gone for such a long time.
Yeah.
I was just like, all
I mean,
right.
so much happened that was integral because of
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
So much
I just
shit
kind
went
of
down.
wish he was involved a lot more. I just really like his character
No,
a
yeah,
lot.
he's
Yeah.
fucking great. And I loved when he shows up and then also, it says we're gonna back you up.
Yeah.
And just having that, everyone just coming together. It's so
Yeah,
great. And
it's
then
a-
we get
it's a great moment.
the end, the episodes ramping up or winding down. It feels like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna go message. We're gonna send ravens. Send us. Dragons are faster.
Yeah.
It's the kids growing up. And
Uh-huh.
yay. And because at this point, dude, I totally thought this was just gonna end like on an epic kind of high note, like, oh, let's see what happens. Kind of like at the very end, I think it was season 6 of Game
Oh,
of Thrones
yeah.
when Daenerys is on the fleet and the dragons are
Yes.
flying. It's just something like that. That's what I expected.
Oh,
Something like epic, like, yeah, let's get it.
Yeah.
And then instead, we see little tiny Lucerys
Yeah.
fly over to Baratheon, right?
I think it was
Whoever it was.
Lord Boros.
Lord Boris, thank you.
Yes.
And we're there at the castle, and he flies in. Everything's fine. It's stormy. It looks a little bit stormy, and then there's fucking Vagar in the fucking courtyard,
Dude, that
looking like a fucking beast.
scared me.
I saw
If
that. reaction
I
in all
was,
people, yeah.
if I rode into my fucking dragon into wherever the fuck that was and saw that thing, I'd be like, I'm fucking out. See ya. I would
No, yeah.
I would have told Ben, I'd be like, Mom, there's a huge dragon there, and I don't want to die, so we're gonna send a raven.
Why is he all cocky?
What?
Oh, for his first side note, dude. Just the sentence that you mentioned. If I showed up in my dragon, how fucking sick would it be to have a dragon?
Oh, that would be the coolest fucking thing ever.
That's
would be
that's all I
awesome.
think about a lot when watching like the Game of Thrones and this show. It's just like, I wish I had a fucking dragon.
Exactly, and whenever I have ever had the conversation of, and I'm sure we've talked about this many times before, what family would you want to belong to if you were born in Westeros? I would love to be a Targaryen. I would,
Yeah.
solely for the fact of because I get to fucking ride a dragon.
Dragons. Oh my god, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's my son's gonna be a dragon for Halloween.
There you go.
And we're very excited.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I'm
That's
so
gonna be
stoked.
so
His mother's
awesome.
Daenerys. I'm gonna be Jon Snow.
There you go.
So it's gonna be fantastic. I can't
Yeah.
wait. Yes, but then as we were talking, so Lucerys shows up. She's a messenger, and Aemon's over here. And he showed up before, and he's like, "Oh, he offered me the same thing too. Is what? And he's gonna offer marriage." And then all of a sudden, Aemon loses his shit. And I loved that we got to see.
Oh
Underneath
yeah,
the-
what it looked like with his eye patch off, that like blue, like
It's a sapphire.
yeah, that was so
Yeah.
sick. Like, hey, keep the eye patch off. That looked cool.
It looked cool. Yeah, I saw some people
Season
like
2, keep the eye patch
Yeah,
off.
just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. It's cool. It's
I
cool.
saw some people jumping to conclusions and be like, it's related to the White Walkers. I'm like, it's a fucking sapphire. It's in the book. I mean, but it's just that's the way some people get. But
Yeah.
that whole scuffle, turned into a much bigger thing. I'm not gonna have that under my roof. Okay, cool. And then
Which I find very interesting because, like, I feel like in Game of Thrones.
well, because then Boros would be blamed for the blood spilled.
Okay. Because like in my mind, I think about if this was the original Game of Thrones series, they probably would have let that shit go down right then and there.
But I mean, here's the problem that you have these two different people, and the whole thing is about who's really on the throne, and Boros ain't having none of that shit. So whatever happens down between them two, he gets blamed for because it happened within his own. He's in control
Gotcha.
of what's happening there,
Okay.
quote unquote.
Yeah.
So
okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he doesn't, whichever side gets fucked up, he doesn't want to have to answer for it.
Right.
So we see Lucerys flying out, and then with a fucking shadow, dude, that gave me chills.
That
man.
gave me massive. The last 5 minutes of this episode, I was very anxious.
I mean, yeah, the whole fucking time, especially like I said, because I was thinking we were just gonna get this like, okay, we'll see what happens next, like type ending, and oh fuck,
and there was
this is what's happening.
there was like no score. There was just the wind, thunder,
fucking
rain,
lightning,
dragons
everything.
flapping, roaring,
fucking Aemon cackling. You know, like the whole time,
Scary
and we
shit, dude.
see that this whole thing is basically just bullying. You know, the worst fucking kind of bullying with a fucking dragon. But that's all apparently it was. And then both kids can't control their dragons, and fucking Vhagar eats fucking Lucerys and Aprax. I think was this
Arax.
Thank you. All these names, but dude, I was like, fuck.
That
then for a
was-
second, I was like, wait, did he eat the kid?
Yeah.
And mine's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh shit! And I had to rewind it just to watch it again and have my heart drop again. And I'm like, fuck.
Man, that was
It
some brutal shit, man.
was fucking nuts, man. And then just to have that information relayed later, which I don't know how Damon learned, but the fact that
News fucking travels, dude.
by Raven
By Raven, yeah, probably.
in 3 seconds, the nitpick of the later seasons of Game of Thrones. But I mean, just having Rhaenyra get that information and us not even see her face, just like her body and like just the feel, like
Yup.
you just get it. She turns around, rage, and it's
And here's the thing about it. She didn't have a face. Like she had a face. Like you could tell in her eyes. But like her face was so stoic and so like stiff and
it's like that face you make with it's like there's so much anger brimming.
like you don't it's
Like,
almost like you
don't
don't
even
know
grimace.
what to do.
Yeah.
It's like you don't know what to do.
But
like,
you knew shit was gonna fucking
oh
go down.
yeah, and then it
Like,
just cuts to
whew.
black. And and me personally, I thought that was a great way to end it.
Yeah.
It's a cliffhanger. If I ever fucking saw one, it's a good cliffhanger at that as well. And you know, I think this is another reason why House of the Dragon, I think, like, is gonna be one. I think it's gonna be on par with how good Game of Thrones is as a whole. It's gonna maybe be better.
I mean,
Could be.
It has
the potential. For
it,
sure.
it has the potential for it. There is a very singular trajectory. The book is finished.
Yes.
Everything, all the material is being based off is
Right,
finished.
right.
And I feel it's also in a situation where me and Morans make sense. Hey, the other podcast I'm on. Love you guys. We're talking about like, you know, how much do we see this show going? You know,
Absolutely.
and Ub Lester had said he doesn't see it going any less than 3, but no more than 5. And then George R. R. Martin recently mentioned that he sees it lasting 4 in order to tell the complete story.
Absolutely.
And I hate that because I want more. But I also love the fact that we are also like it's become very aware of the fact that this is a story that can be tightly adapted.
Yeah.
You know, and we can get that ending done the right way as opposed to potentially dragging out or unfortunately rushing, you know,
Yeah.
whatever the case might be. It looks like this can really have its proper ending. And if they keep the momentum going the way they did season 1, it can potentially eclipse Game of Thrones.
I think it absolutely has the potential
You know,
to, for sure.
we'll
I
see
think
for
4.
sure.
I think 5 seasons. If it's 5 seasons, that's like the perfect amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's 4 and they write it in such a way where it doesn't feel rushed, let's fucking go. But like you said,
Yeah.
all of the source material is there. They had everything to go off of. However, I did hear that Miguel, I don't remember his last name because it's very hard.
Sapo Witch?
Yeah, he is not returning.
I heard that as well.
So, and I also heard that season 2 will not be airing until 2024.
I mean, it makes sense.
It makes sense.
So
It makes
much. I think it was 10 months that went into season 1.
Yeah,
So,
makes
I
sense.
mean, for it to get greenlit the day after it drops, of course,
Right.
you know.
So I think what I was listening to, do you know who the comedian Andrew Schultz is? Okay, well he was talking about it on his podcast that he has. He's a comedian, but he loves House of Dragon and Game of Thrones stuff. They were discussing why it's going to take so long, and they were like, "Well, I don't think that HBO knew that it was going to get renewed because of the sour taste of season 8 in everybody's mouths. They didn't think that House of the Dragon was going to essentially cleanse the people's palates, and they were wrong. So when they saw like how well it was doing, they're like, okay, well, Now we're good.
I mean, well, I think it has more to do necessarily HBO, but with all the issues that Warner Brothers has gone through recently, and then the absorption, the buyout from acquisition. Thinking that's a better word, from Discovery. Everyone who's in charge is now different.
Yes.
So I think it has more to do with that than necessarily HBO calling the shots.
Which I'm glad that House of the Dragon fell under the category of shows that essentially are not going to be canned because when it's a Max original, they have a different title card. It's the purple with the like one whatever, and when it's HBO, it's the like it's that.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So because Game of Thrones is under the HBO original, not Max original, that's why it's gonna keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So thank the seven gods for that.
Well, there's been other shows that have been renewed that are Max originals.
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Some, yes, that is correct. But a lot of them are being scrapped for whatever fucking reason.
What other shows were scrapped?
I mean, the list that I saw, like shows like Succession are going to keep going. Shows like there's the list.
I know a bunch of CW shows got axed, but that's a whole different network. But it's still under the.
It's
Warner
still
Brothers
under the
Brothers.
Warner. Yeah, like also like this show I really like called The Sex Life of College Girls. Heard that's not coming back, but season 2 was just shot, right? But I don't think it's going to come back after that
for a season 3.
For season 3, great show. It's very funny. I'm trying to think. There was other like Hacks. Heard that one's going to be done after this next season. Stuff like that.
Oh shit! No,
So-
I wasn't aware of that.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not. That's all just like reported. It's nothing confirmed yet, but it sounds like from what Hollywood insiders are reporting on, it seems like that may be what is going on. But things could always change.
Yeah.
Things could change,
And that's why
and I hope that what I am saying isn't true. I hope that all these shows because all those shows I feel like do well, and I want to watch them. So. Fucking keep making them, please.
I mean, I was recently stoked to find out that we finally were getting a new season of Titans and Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
'Cause for a while, I know that was murky, that was unconfirmed, and there was such a delay on even getting it started compared to the earlier seasons. But I mean, it has everything to do with upstairs, basically all the management changing. So I'm stoked that the show is still going. I mean, clearly we always knew it was.
Oh yeah. I mean,
so-
like but just because of all of the nonsense that was going on behind the scenes at Warner Brothers with all the DC properties and all that type of stuff, I'm just like, man, anything could get the axe. Like Batgirl was a $90 million film that got fucking just scrapped completely. You know what I mean?
that's-
So what's to say that even something as popular as House of the Dragon could get the axe too?
But see, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, right there, you're discussing two very different things. One that has a for sure audience, and because the thing is too, like, from what I hear, I don't know, it's been going back and forth a lot. Is that the fact that the Batgirl film wasn't necessarily that great?
Sure.
And there was a lot of, from what I hear, like behind the scenes of like it's just there was either studio interference or whatever the case might be, and they just didn't see it working the same way. And that's again also coming back to the idea that was going to be solely an HBO Max original, and everyone that's in charge now wants every superhero film to be this huge blockbuster thing.
Which makes sense.
And so it was maybe the idea of, because I know they hadn't gone back for reshoots just yet. So again, I mean, this is a whole episode in itself, I feel, but
yeah.
Whereas with House of the Dragon, you had something that was already completed,
Yeah.
which did phenomenal, which you're gonna have to release regardless. You know, and the way it was received, it was like, okay, well, let's for sure keep going. Versus something that maybe wasn't completely on point.
Yeah.
And then they had a different mind for what they wanted to do with those type of films.
Yeah.
Anyhow, which there's a bunch of stuff happening right now with DC. There's some things I want to talk about. There's some things I don't want to talk about just yet because I'm not 100% sure on things because I haven't seen Black Adam yet. And the internet is abuzz with so much that's happened because of it, and I'm really excited to see it, but I haven't had a chance to, so we will put a pin on that conversation.
Yeah.
I love House of the Dragon.
As did I.
Can't wait for more.
Wonderful.
Holy fuck.
Excellent
Probably
show.
the best show I've seen all year.
Yep, definitely is.
And there's a handful of things that are up there, but House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon, in my mind, it's top spot
Yeah.
for everything that I've
think
watched
so
this year.
too. I think
Yeah.
so too.
Definitely.
Yeah, audience members, how did you guys feel about it? How did everyone enjoy it as much as we did?
Maybe
I would
more.
hope so. Yeah, maybe more.
Are you going to dress up?
Are you getting
for Daemon as
tattoos?
Halloween? Are you?
I've thought about getting Daenerys tattooed on me. Yeah,
Ah, you should.
with dragons and shit.
You
I don't know.
absolutely
We'll
should.
see. I mean, I'm running out of space. I feel.
Just get her like on your
my
chest,
chest?
just right here, just dragon wings going up your. Dude, that would be sick. Dude,
not
you
a
know
bad
what you
idea.
should do? Okay, you should get in the final episode of Game of Thrones when she's walking through.
Oh, that's
and that
yeah.
fuck that would be
looks
so
so cool.
sick. Get
It
that
did
on your
look cool.
back and just fucking
flap
when it
away.
flap away. That would be tight,
That
bro.
would be sick.
That would be tight.
Like, oh, real quick, one last thing I did want to mention when I brought up Daenerys. I was going to say the only thing right now that because even if House of Dragon becomes a tighter and better show than Game of Thrones as an overall whole,
Yeah.
At least right now, again, we're only in season 1, but the time that I spent with my favorite characters from Game of Thrones, Tyrion, Daenerys, Jon Snow. You can never say just Jon, I realize. It's always Jon Snow. But like I was just so invested in those characters and I loved them so much, and I don't see myself loving some of these characters as much as I loved them, but we're still only one season in.
One season.
You know, there's already so many characters I love. Daemon in particular, who you love to hate.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, it's fantastic.
I feel like
but I think in your Nera, I think we're gonna get there. It's just I've only spent the past a couple months with them versus like 8 years.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
But we'll see how we get there. But yeah, man, I fucking loved this show. I
Yep.
hope everyone did too. Thank you for watching,
/
especially since we
listening,
did 3 episodes
Yeah.
on this show alone.
Really do
Which
appreciate
is our new
that.
record, but
Yeah.
it was dope.
Yeah, hell yeah, absolutely was. Thank you guys so much for watching and for listening. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube if you're watching. Click on the bell to get all notifications for all these videos. And if you're listening on Apple Music or Spotify, give us a 5-star. Give us a very nice review. It helps us out a lot. It would mean the absolute world to us.
Cool. And have yourselves a wonderful day and happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.